You ever have one of those moments where the floor just drops out from under you, right there in public, where nobody even notices you're falling? That's where I was, standing in an airport terminal, under these flickering fluorescent lights, phone shaking in my hand, reading words that burned so deep I don't think they'll ever fully leave me. Can't do this. You've gained too much weight. Too fat to be my wife. Don't come to Mexico. Wedding is off. Yeah, that happened. My fiancé, ex, I guess, couldn't even say it to my face, just dumped me by text right before I was supposed to fly out and get married. Said, lost the deposit, but better than being embarrassed. Told me not to contact him. Just like that. 2 years, down the drain in 2 seconds. My fingers went numb. Phone slipped to the floor, and the world kept spinning. Travelers rolling their suitcases past, families off to some vacation, business folks glued to their screens. Not one person noticed the woman, in the red sundress, just frozen, right in the middle of her own disaster. I'd spent every dime I had on that wedding, every bit. Paid for the venue, the cake, the flowers, the photographer. Gerald, the man I thought I loved, promised he'd cover the hotel and flights, but made me handle the wedding itself. Looking back, I see why. He set me up to take the hit if it went south. Let me back up, SEC. This wasn't just some fling. I trusted him, believed every time he said he loved my curves, every time he called me beautiful. I'd picked out a simple cream dress for the beach. Something that felt like me, you know? This morning, I'd woken up at dawn, curled my hair, did my makeup with shaking hands, and let my brother Tom hug me extra tight at the airport curb. Now, I couldn't even call him. I couldn't call anybody. My legs just buckled, and I ended up on this bench with my wedding dress in a bag pooling around my feet. Still nobody stopped, not even for a second. I was invisible, just another sad story lost in the shuffle. I'd given up my apartment for this. Furniture and storage, lease ended, because we were supposed to start a new life together. Now, nowhere to go, no cash left, no plan. I looked down at my body, the same body I'd spent years learning to love. Gerald's words echoed, too fat. I wrapped my arms around myself, trying to muffle the sound of my sobs. The terminal noise faded out, and I felt like I was drowning. Humiliated, betrayed, scared to death. What was I supposed to do? People rushed by, a businesswoman barking about. Quarterly reports, a family fighting over snacks, an old couple holding hands, all with somewhere to go. I had nothing. I picked up my phone, hands shaking, thinking maybe I could get a refund or something. But those contracts, they were ironclad. Non-refundable, cancellation fees. Gerald hadn't just taken my money. He'd taken my dignity, my whole future, and he didn't even have the guts to look me in the eye. Overhead, the intercom called for boarding to Cancun. My flight, my supposed paradise. Now it was just salt in the wound. I pressed my hand to my mouth, trying not to break down. How could I have missed the signs? Was he always this cruel, and I just didn't see it? Another buzz. Hope shot up for a second. It was just the airline, asking if I needed check-in help. That hurt in a whole new way. I deleted it. I wasn't going anywhere. You ever feel so completely abandoned you can't even imagine coming back from it? If you know what I mean, if you've ever been there, I hope you share your story below. Sometimes that's what gets someone through. While I sat there, dying a little on the inside, someone noticed. Out of nowhere, this guy in a navy suit, Christopher Bennett, comes walking through like he owns the place, but he sees me, really sees me, and he doesn't keep walking. He sits down a safe distance away, puts his briefcase aside, and asks, "Are you all right?" Dumb question, but he looked at me like he actually wanted an answer. I broke. I told him everything. How I was supposed to get married, spent all my money, and got dumped in the worst way possible. I don't know what I expected from him, but it wasn't what I got. He listened, really listened. When I said maybe Gerald was right about me, he cut me off. Told me not to let some coward's cruelty become my truth. Turns out, he'd lost his wife to cancer a few years ago. Had all the money in the world, couldn't save her. Now he just kept busy. But he knew that look, he'd lived it. He said, "Let's get you off this bench, get you some food." I told him I couldn't pay. He said, "My treat." I asked him why. Why would he help a stranger like me? He said, "Sometimes we're put in someone's path for a reason. No one should be alone on their wedding day." That, right there, was the first real kindness I'd felt since the world went sideways. So we walked to a restaurant. Just me and this complete stranger, an unlikely pair. He let me set the pace, didn't rush me, didn't try to fix me. He told me about his work, technology. Software sounded boring to him, but the kind of success most people dream about. He said, money solves some problems, but it can't buy the things that matter, like someone to talk to at dinner. When he asked about me, I told him about my dream, to own a bakery, maybe even a restaurant someday. Said it probably sounded silly now, since I couldn't even afford rent. He told me dreams are what keep us moving forward. Over soup and bread, I started to feel the light come back a little. He asked questions that made me feel seen, not pitted. Twist is, this guy wasn't just some suit with a hero complex. He was lonely, too. He missed his wife, Patricia, and said she'd been his first investor, his biggest supporter. Losing her broke him in a way he didn't think he'd recover from. But he saw something in me that day, recognized the look of someone with nothing left. And then, just when I thought the day couldn't get any weirder, Christopher said, "What if you married me?" Instead, I laughed, because come on, right? Who does that? But he was serious. Said he could offer security, a place to stay, a chance for both of us to heal. Not a fairy tale, just a practical arrangement. I could leave any time. He'd support my dream. I'd bring life back into his empty house. It was crazy, but you know what's crazier? Crawling back to a couch at my brother's place. Hiding from my own life. So I said yes. And just like that, the day that started as the worst of my life became the beginning of something I never could have imagined. Christopher called his assistant, Helen, a woman who could have run the CIA, the way she handled things. 3 hours later, I was in a blue dress, standing in an airport chapel with a bouquet of white roses. Marrying a man I'd just met. It was surreal, but it was real. The days that followed? A blur of new beginnings. Christopher's house was huge, intimidating, but he made it feel like home. Gave me space, respected my boundaries. I called my brother, told him everything. He thought I was nuts, but he showed up for dinner, met Christopher, and realized this was real. Unconventional, but real. Christopher's mother, Margaret, came next. She was elegant, kind, and surprisingly happy that her son had finally found a reason to live again. She told me, "You're not replacing Patricia. You're helping my son see color in the world again." For the first time in ages, I felt like I belonged. There were bumps, calls from Gerald, doubts from Tom. But through it all, Christopher stood by me, gave me confidence, supported my dream of opening a restaurant. With his help, I found a location, hired a team, and opened new beginnings. Yeah, that's what I called it. Opening night. The place was packed. My brother, Christopher's mom, Helen, even Susan the cook came. Christopher was there, of course, looking at me like I was the best thing that ever happened to him. Somewhere along the way, our partnership turned into something more. We started as strangers, two people broken in different ways. But with time, respect, and a whole lot of honesty, we built something real. Christopher told me he loved me under string lights in the garden, and I realized I loved him, too. The practical arrangement was gone. This was marriage, the real kind. We renewed our vows with friends and family, built traditions, faced challenges, business setbacks, old insecurities, new responsibilities. But we faced them together. Every day, I remembered that. Airport bench, the way one act of kindness changed everything. So, if you've ever wondered what would happen if you took a leap of faith, even when the world told you it was crazy, maybe this is your sign. Sometimes, the worst day of your life turns out to be the start of something beautiful. If you've been there, or you're there now, I hope you share your story below. Tell me, would you take the risk? What would you do if fate handed you a second chance, disguised as heartbreak? That's how my story started, with heartbreak, hope, and a stranger who chose kindness over indifference. And it's not over, not by a long shot. Because sometimes, the best love stories don't begin with once upon a time, but with, "Are you all right?" and a seat on a bench when you need it most.